Welcome to the beautiful world of Anno 1800 and my first sort of dummies guide video for this game, I guess you'd say. If I can editorialize a bit here as preamble, I think something that's probably true with any strategy game that's part of a long-standing series is that there's kind of an expectation from series veterans with regard to what players should be able to fully understand straight out of the gate. Sometimes even the in-game tutorial, or what passes for it, tends to gloss over topics that are too basic, or about which maybe you're not meant to think too hard. But I'm new to the Anno series, and I probably think too hard about too many basic things, so I'm just going to open myself up to ridicule here and talk about your balance sheet in Anno 1800. And by that, what I mean is the core inflow and outflow. In other words, if it wasn't obvious, this video is for the casuals out there, casuals like me. Now, just to be clear, this game doesn't really provide you a proper screener for this, like you might see in other city builders, Tropico 6 for example, but you can get a sense of your money flow by hovering over the balance readout in the upper left of the screen. And you may be thinking, looking at this, okay, simple enough, money comes in from people, goes out to expenses, and yeah, I guess you would be right, kinda right, but I still think it's worth talking about. So for one thing, what you'll notice is that your balance is constantly updating. It's not just updating at noticeable intervals. That's because the number that you see indicating surplus or deficit, that actually represents what you stand to gain or lose over a 60-second period, from what I've been able to figure out. That wasn't obvious to me when I began. I don't think the game goes out of its way to make it obvious to you, unless I missed something. But in other words, the expense number that you see on a building is completely independent from the length of the production cycle, as it should be, but still worth noting. So in this case, you may be producing 2 tons of fish every 30 seconds, but you're paying out 40 coins every minute. So just do the arithmetic here on the value of 4 tons of fish in order to ensure that you're profiting. Generally, the game does what it can to assure that you do profit, even if not by a lot. So second, as we check out one of our worker houses, note that the cash inflow is actually per house and not per person. So whether there are 20 workers living in a house or 13, they're still paying you 5 coins for the amount of sausages that they eat. In short. But in the beginning of the game anyway, and I'm still a beginner, owing to the way that prices scale up with population density, what you'll find is that a full house basically means that you make about 1 coin per farmer, 2 coins per worker, and so forth along those lines. So in other words, Anno 1800 keeps it simple for you, and maybe I'm making it complex when I don't need to, but that's kind of what I do. So anyway, I'm moving fast here, and I could expound upon all these points, but I will make one final point, and that is, understand that in this game, citizens pull payments to you out of thin air, by virtue of existing, basically. And it took me a while to accept this, coming from some other games that work a little bit differently. So even though half of them may be unemployed, they're still regularly paying out to you for their allotment of fish or work clothes or what have you. And if you run the numbers, what you discover, or at least what I discovered with what I observed, is that local consumption tends to trump the income that you can make from trade. So going back to fish, for example, 4 tons of fish can feed 800 workers. That's a number, by the way, not provided to you in the game, at least at this point. But workers will pay you 3 coins for their portion, as we can see here. And, you know, if you do the math on that, you've got 20 workers living in a house, so 40 houses for 800 people at 3 coins each gets you 120 coins, minus the 40 from expenses, 80 coins in profit, right? And that ain't bad when you consider that selling 4 fish in trade would probably only get you about half of that. Though, with that said, just notice that farmer houses only pay you 1 coin for the same amount of fish. So fewer of them do live in a house, however, so in short, you still net about 40 coins off of them. In a nutshell, in other words, just when in doubt, you just want to zone more housing. More people is the best option. Okay, I sincerely hope you all get the point, and if you didn't think that this was a complete waste of time, then consider clicking the thumbs up icon and letting me know, and or leave a comment, keeping in mind that I am a sensitive soul. Now, go forth, conquer, etc. Ultimately, just have fun playing games your way.